we're talking about what's eating you. Talking about what's eating you.
This field trip is proudly brought to you by RogersHood Apothecary. What's up, beautiful people? It's Sam.
Hi, you guys. This is Kim.
Welcome to this special field trip episode where we are taking you with us to Neuroveda Health in Seattle, Washington, to give you an up-close, exclusive look at Kim receiving Therapeutic Plasma Exchange, also known as TPE.
How are you feeling, Kim?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, big poke.
That's cool, man.
I know. Doing good. Cool.
Yeah. Why are we removing plasma?
Because the plasma has all the bad stuff in it.
That's where it's all stored.
Little suckers are hiding.
That's where it hides.
Yeah, that's where it hides. And we use albumin because we want to maintain your fluid balance. If we were to just replace that plasma volume with just saline, you would feel like shit. It would not be good because the plasma, it's, denser. It has all these different factors in it that are maintaining your fluid balance. And albumin this albumin that we use is synthesized from human albumin. I mean, it's super processed and they take anything out that could cause like a transfusion reaction out of it, but it helps maintain your fluid balance. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Cool. It makes sense. Yeah. Well, and we know all the things that are wrong with me, so it'll be interesting to see if really having mold and Lyme and encephalitis and parasites and strep, all the things, what it looks like.
Okay, you have a beautiful vein right here. So
oh, thanks, man.
Go in the crook of your arm,
Thanks, I made it.
I find it complimenting that I have great veins.
You do. So this arm will have to be kept pretty straight.
Okay.
Like you got a honker in there, and we definitely want to use that one.
Okay.
A lidocaine again, so you're gonna feel a little bee sting.
Oh, I see. Numbing first. Nice.
Yeah. That is the difference between people that work in the holistic natural world and people that work in Western medicine. Mm-hmm. The process behind the way they do things is so different. Yeah. You don't use that.
Poke. Smooth like butter. Nice and easy.
Wow, I actually saw it on the screen.
Yeah. Cool, right? I'm glad you got that.
So as you'll notice, some of the needles sticking out, that's fine.
Okay.
It's all sterile.
That is not that big. Getting it started. Is this the part that takes the longest? Is the setup?
Yeah.
I'm stoked to see the plasma.
Me too.
You crushed it being filmed and doing this.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, just do a job. All right, worm queen, you ready? Oh, that's so great.
That was the best.
That was beautiful.
That was the
you
best.
Really?
I am.
She's the worm queen.
I really am the
Literally
worm queen.
across millions and
Millions of
online.
followers.
That's who knows.
I'm the worm queen. You just have to type in Kim Rogers Worm Queen and there I am.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the worm lady.
No, it's not.
No one want. No.
Worm queen. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty funny.
Like I even merch it up. See my little worm that's through the mushroom with the crown on it.
Geez.
Oh yeah. You got to play with it. You already shared the world that you have worms. Get it at that point. Yeah. Yep. People remember it. That means they're taking their health seriously.
Yeah.
That they fully understand what they're committing to, not just about worms.
Not just about worms.
We all have them at some
worms.
point. It's not. It's about like learning to self-heal and be your own advocate and stand on your own 2 feet to be able to heal your body. This is all you get,
After Kim was all hooked up and the TPE had begun, we had the absolute pleasure of sitting down with Dr. Jillian Ehrlich, the owner and clinical director of Neuroveda Health, pioneer of integrative medicine, bridging the gap between Ayurvedic and functional medicine.
You have an amazing clinic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My background is really Ayurvedic medicine.
Okay.
And my background before that was that I was really I got really interested in health.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see a lot of that in medicine. And so I thought about going to medical school, and then I decided not to.
Right choice.
When I was first learning Ayurveda 25 years ago, a lot of the young people from India that I would meet in the U.S. are like, oh, it's my grandma's. You sound like my grandma. It's my grandma's medicine. It's like old people's medicine. But now, more and more, it seems like people are kind of accepting and embracing. And my teacher, Dr. Vasant Lad, is a traditionally trained Ayurvedic physician. who was brought to the U.S. in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, to teach Ayurveda, and has now been here over 40 years. And his mission, as told to him by his family guru, was to make Ayurveda flourish in India in its home. And so because of that, he was essentially going to be sent to the United States to be the mouthpiece, because the U.S. is the mouthpiece of the world.
We are.
We are. And so I've kind of taken that on as my personal mission, because Ayurveda has been so valuable in my life. And so I just talk a ton about Ayurveda. And so I was interested in health. I taught outdoor education for Outward Bound for about 7 years, and I was in wooden rowing and sailing boats with kids in the San Juan Islands here in Washington.
Oh, very
and I love that
cool.
work. And then my best friend from childhood, Anisha Durve, was studying Ayurveda in the late 90s with Dr. Ladd and brought me to a class. And I was like, what is this? And I used what I learned about Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, which are the 3 kind of constitutional types. And I used that the next summer with my Outward Bound students, and they all did better, and I did better. And I just thought, I think there's something here. So I went back and studied for a year, and by the time that I left in June of 2001, I was like, I want Ayurveda to be my life.
Wow.
And what Dr. Ladd says is that nobody comes to Ayurveda for small things. You know, they come to Ayurveda when things don't work, when medicine doesn't work, when therapies don't work, when the health is still not good. And so people come to Ayurveda as a last resort. And so because of that, I've ended up in this chronic and complex health world. And it's very easy to partner all of the therapeutics, stem cells, peptides, exosomes, plasmapheresis, any pharmaceutical, because everything is built in Ayurveda on qualities, and all of these things have qualities. And in fact, plasmapheresis in Sanskrit would be called either Rakta Moksha, which is one of the traditional methods of detoxification. It means blood liberation. So 10,000 years ago, they used leeches.
Right. Bloodletting.
Bloodletting.
Right.
Yep.
Is that all in the same world?
That's all part of, that's very classical Ayurveda. And really what we're pulling out is plasma, which is known as rasa. So this is kind of like rasa moksha. And moksha means liberation. So we're liberating your plasma.
That's very cool.
And liberating
Vata
you.
here, super Vata.
I know, Vata.
And yes,
Yes.
a little bit of Pitta. I know I'm saying it like a white girl.
That's okay.
But like very little Kapha. And we haven't done her dosha quiz yet. But
Yeah, I don't know what I am.
But
You're Pitta Kapha.
Juliana's our really good friend. We're really close with her.
Yeah.
And we know she's Kapha, like for sure, a lot of Kapha. But the thing I love about Ayurveda, I've just been drawn to it naturally for years, just out of passion and obsessed with it. I love it. All rooted in the elements.
Yeah.
All rooted in using balance to like the elements to balance the system. And it's like really, when you really get to the root of it, to me, it's like really common sense and simple when you get to it, because it's like too much heat, use cool, too much this, use that. It's just like, we're balancing ourselves out with the elements. But I think it's so beautiful when you were just saying how like, you were hearing people be like, oh, this is like the elders' medicine, or this is like old people. And to me, that's like comforting. I would be drawn to that. Like, yes, give me the most ancient there is. Because to me, that's what humans have been using for the longest, and that's what works. Yep. So it's like, let's get back to the root and like, you know, back to using nature, because we are all nature and made up of elements. But I digress. Continue.
No, that was great.
I'm just like, I'm so in love with it. It's brilliant. I've always been naturally drawn to it. So even when I met Jay and she told me what she was, I was like, oh my God, I've been obsessed for years. Like, it's one of my favorite things to like get with my friends and give them the quiz. And like, let's find out what your dosha is. Because it's just like, it's so beautiful. And I've used it several times over to get me out of some critical, when something was like alarms going off serious, like way too much heat in the skin, and I was having head to toe body rashes that no matter what I did, it wouldn't get it under control. And the second I would apply Ayurvedic medicine, it would be like, oh, let me get in a bath with oatmeal that's cooling, and I'm gonna only drink cucumber and only drink like the things that are cooling, and like only stay away from peppers right now, stay away from heat.
That's exactly right.
And then it's like I hold the heat at no saunas. I was doing sauna thinking sweating would help.
Yeah.
So it's like pulling the heat out of my body, using cool, and then it would like, you would get to balance. So I'm just so grateful, like, for the science and the medicine
And the
of it,
knowledge,
because it really works.
It does.
So when you understand the science of reality, then you can make your whole world medicine we think about our lives as big decisions. Oh, I moved to Topeka, Kansas, or whatever it is. But really, what our body, our vision is our furthest sense, right? We can go to space with our vision. But the majority of our senses are like right here around us. And these are the things that truly impact our system. And so the things that we eat, how we breathe, the clothing that we wear, the colors and the textures.
Whoa, wait.
Yeah.
Colors?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Affect.
Yes. They have their own frequency, their own vibration.
Just so everybody can see what we're talking about. When I do.
Yes.
When I do get my braids, I really do feel better. I feel more expressive.
It has its own frequency.
More alive, like I'm almost like I'm now dancing instead of walking. Oh, that's really cool.
What we hear, also frequency. What we feel, also vibration, heat, temperature, light. All these elements are
That's all
so
external.
critical.
What about emotion on the inside?
All of it.
Okay.
So inside, we are a chemical soup. I mean, think about how many billions of interactions are happening. How many, we have more flora in our gut than there are stars in the Milky Way, right?
Okay.
And so the organisms that live in us and on us. And so one fun fact is that, I don't know if this is actually precisely accurate, but okay, what I've heard, which I choose to believe.
Okay. I love it.
Is that, what I do know is that proteins in the human genome, we have about 22,000 protein encoding genes. So we've got about 22,000 genes that essentially make a protein, that are like building instructions. And that's about the same number as a nematode.
Okay.
Sorry.
Nematode.
Hannah's like, oh yeah.
Familiar?
Worm.
It's like a worm.
Got
Yeah,
it.
that's a worm.
It's a worm.
Yes,
It's a
that's right.
physical worm. Nematodes are physical worms.
That's right.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
So a grain of rice has about 70,000 protein encoding genes. And the organisms that we have in us and on us we have the symbiotic DNA RNA relationship. And so with the organisms inside of us, we now number hundreds of thousands of protein encoding genes in our system. We could not survive as a sterile being. The most sterile organ we thought we had was the placenta, and they're now finding a microbiome of the placenta.
Yeah.
So who we are is directly dependent on who lives within us. And then the other thing too, in Ayurveda, you were talking about the elements. So the 5 elements in Ayurveda are actually different than the 5 elements in Chinese medicine.
Okay, let's break that down.
Yeah,
for a
let's break
second.
it down.
This is really interesting.
It is really
So
interesting.
5 elements in Ayurvedic are
Ether, or space, air, which is the movement of space, fire, which is heat and transformation, water, which becomes more gross and heavy, and then earth. And I mean gross by like weight, not like disgusting.
Yeah.
But so ether, air, fire, water, earth are the 5 elements in Ayurveda, and that's what our body is made up of. So we're always thinking about like, where do we have space in our bodies?
Good.
We have space in our lungs.
Good.
We have space in our bone tissue. So like if I'm feeling really cold, I'll often try to heat my femur bones, the largest bone in the body.
Oh, that's smart.
Oh.
So I will often try to put red light or hot packs
Smart.
on my thighs
Love it.
and my legs. Where do we have air? Is our inhalation, is our prana.
Lungs, sometimes
lungs.
intestines, not too comfortable, but it gets there.
Exactly. Where do we have fire? That's all of our that's all of our enzymes.
I was instant stomach,
All of our-
instant gut to burn it up. Yeah.
Yep. Where do we have water? Obviously.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
We're made of water. And where do we have earth? That's structure. And so ether and air are vata, fire and water are pitta, and water and earth are kapha.
Yeah.
So once we understand
You're so kapha, I know it.
pitta kapha,
I know she has pitta in there, but I bet she's kapha dominant.
probably, but this bitch in charge. Like you're not like.
So wait, do you think that she could be pitta in
Oh yeah, so
dominant?
yeah, because to be able to.
Listen, we
Some
have 3
bitch in
more
charge.
hours here. I'm gonna pull up the quiz. I'll let you guys have one, but I have a favorite quiz to go to.
Oh.
Funny enough, it's a brand. It's a company. You guys sell their products here.
Oh, Banyan.
Yes.
Yes.
I've been obsessed with them for years. Like, yeah. So
So
we're
the
doing
two
it for
guys-
fun while
Okay.
we're here.
Yeah, the 2 guys who started Banyan are students of Dr. Labs, and they
Oh my
started Banyan in
gosh.
the mid-90s, and it was like just a few years before I started at the Institute, so Banyan was new when I started there in
Yeah.
the late 90s, and
Yeah.
they've done amazing things with the company,
Yeah.
so
But okay, so what are the 5 elements in Chinese medicine?
I don't know, because I don't know Chinese. I don't know Chinese.
Even if we didn't even say those are the 5 elements in Ayurvedic, those are the 5 elements.
Those are the elements. I'm like, I think those are the. I think they're the same.
Yeah.
Chinese Chinese they have metal and wood.
Okay.
Oh.
They have metal and wood.
Sorry, to me that's earth. That's mineral and that's tree.
Yeah.
That's earth.
I think they just renamed them to be able to like
I know.
say it's theirs.
I'm gonna Google The 5 elements in Chinese medicine is fire, earth, metal, water, wood.
Oh yeah, I think it's tricky sometimes because I think that there is a really intuitive way that we can use Ayurveda and Chinese medicine, these ancient medicinal systems. And I think that we as human beings are born with blind spots, right? We take form because there's lessons here for us for growth. And so when we don't have a professional weighing in, then there are things that we can miss. And that's the piece that I feel like we need each other. Like we
Yes,
are built for
100%. You can only take it so far. Even with the knowledge that I had, I could only take it so far for myself.
You need other expertise.
I had to bring other people in order to assist me more because I'm smart. I know it. I know I have the knowledge. I can dig and find the knowledge. But it comes to a point where you're like, I really need that chemical with someone else. It literally is a thing that they're finding and studying more of, that you need to have yourself surrounded with people in order to kind of activate that inside of you and allow you to take it in and understand it more.
You think the mushrooms are out in the forest on their own?
No.
That's my new favorite meme that I saw. It was like trees with roots, and it was like, oh, the memes they're sharing.
Yeah.
I mean, hello.
Yeah.
All of nature around us uses connection and community to do anything.
But I think that like with the Western medicine society, the way that we've all been indoctrinated, we don't think that way. Like I come from that strict black and white, this is the way it is, this is the only way you can do it. And it isn't surrounded around community and understanding.
Wow, what a powerful conversation full of so many gems. Kim is absolutely crushing this TPE session, so we want to give you a closer look at what's happening. On this side, the blood is coming out. Come closer so you can see. This is where the blood's coming out. It's coming through here, it's going into this machine. Down here it's spinning and getting separated to where the plasma is then getting pushed out this huge bag back here. This is all Kim's plasma that's been removed from her body. And plasma is what holds toxins, parasites, mold, viruses. What else does it hold?
Lyme, inflammation, the dirty cholesterol. So it's really what causes you to have all of your inflammation and pushing that rock up the hill in order for you to not get better.
Right, so what this procedure does is it helps flatten the hill so you can still keep pushing your boulder but with less energy. So what happens is plasma gets separated from the blood, it all is remaining out of her body. This is cleaning her blood and putting it back in over here. So it's like the ultimate oil change for a car, but for the body, right? And remind me again, what is this called?
Albumin.
And what is it doing?
It's just helping my body create more plasma, giving me the electrolytes that's being removed because plasma holds that. So you want to make sure it's like a hydrating system and then allows your body to create more plasma, creating it clean.
Albumin is going back into your body with the clean blood.
Yes.
To help your body create new, fresh plasma.
Correct.
Amazing. Next, we had the special honor of sitting with Dr. Juliana Giles, naturopathic physician specializing in integrative oncology and trauma-informed care, including psychedelic-assisted therapy and Kim's personal doctor.
I'm Dr. Juliana Giles. I'm a naturopathic and Ayurvedic physician. I work at Neuroveda Health, which is where we are, and I am Kim's doctor. Hi.
So what made you get into this? Like, what was your first train of thought when you were like, I'm going to get into natural doctor?
Oh man, that's a whole story. I had a kind of an awakening aha moment where I met somebody who was a self-trained natural doctor, and I didn't know that was a thing that was even possible. And I was studying languages at the time. I had just gone back to school, and I literally went to Ask Jeeves. It was that long ago, and researched how to become a natural doctor. And I went through the whole gamut of osteopathic medicine. I was like, no. Chiropractic, no. MD, path, functional medicine, no. And then I found naturopathic medicine, and I found Bastyr University in Kenmore, right outside of Seattle, and I was like, that's it. That's what I'm doing. That's where I'm going. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm studying. And I got into natural medicine in general because I had a lot of health issues, mental and physical, and conventional medicine was trash for me essentially. And so I wanted to spread knowledge that natural medicine works if you use it right and if you do it right. And I really wanted to bridge the gap between conventional medicine, MDs, etc., surgeons, and I wanted to be able to speak their language really fluidly, and to gain respect for physicians who are working with natural medicines, because it does work if you do it right. Yeah.
And what brought you to Neuroveda? And actually, I have one more question before that. Yeah. What is the specialty that really brought us together?
Complex chronic illness. That was really the subspecialty. Complex chronic illness. It's its own set of a heterogeneous set, so like tons of different diagnoses, but complex. Usually there's a mind-body component. Often there's a trauma component. Not always though. But people who are really, really sick and conventional medicine is not helping them, essentially. And the first clinic I worked at was in oncology and palliative care, but that's still complex chronic illness. Right. And that's where I also got trained with ketamine for the mind, body, and trauma aspect. And so I was already in that field at the clinic I did my residency in, which is when we met. And then when Neuroveda opened, it was the same thing, but more of a neurology focus, which I'm very passionate about. And we have Ayurveda in-house, and that's part of my training too. I have my master's of science in Ayurvedic sciences, so I wanted to be able to actually practice Ayurveda in my practice as well. So I contacted Jillian, and I was like, "You looking for somebody? Because I'm looking for a job. I'm looking to get out of where I am." And the rest is history. And you followed me. and this is a better fit overall.
You were the only one that really believed that you could help me. Like, everyone else was passing me up, and I was very sick when I came to you. My endometriosis was a conglomerate of many things, not just endo. It was, no one believed the parasite aspect of it. No. You helped me find out about mold because we were living in it. You helped change my husband's health. Like, you're helping my family soon. Like, so thank you for that.
Thank you. It's been my honor. I told you from the beginning, I was like, no.
Yeah.
You are definitely, we can definitely get you better. I know it. Hang in there with me. It's not going to be an overnight fix. It's going to take some time, but 100% you can heal.
And the oncology aspect is what makes, I feel like, you so different, because people don't realize that there is a natural side of the oncology world too.
100%.
So oncology is like so understudied in so many ways, and there's so many things that people can do that can calm their nervous system while they're going through so many different transitions.
Yep.
So that's definitely a gift that is hard to find. And that's how we treated my endometriosis. That's why we came to your previous facility, was because we were like, okay, well, if this is the way that they're getting through their illnesses, then this has got to be a way that I can get through my endometriosis too. I just follow those steps.
Absolutely.
So, what other things do you feel like you do here in Neuroveda that you have helped people that have chronic illness?
Definitely ketamine therapy, ketamine-assisted psychotherapy.
That's like your jam.
Yeah, that's one of at least 50% of my practice because of the mind-body, connection. That's a huge thing for me.
What is ketamine and what is CAP?
CAP is ketamine-assisted psychotherapy. Okay. So it's not just getting the ketamine as a shot or an IV. It's a whole therapeutic process, usually a series of treatments, like a lot of hand-holding. Like, it's a whole therapeutic process, and that's what I do. And I've seen it change countless lives, honestly, like countless lives. So I love that because it bridges. I've done research on it in oncology patients, and it helps balance hormones, it helps with metabolic pathways, it helps with the immune system, chronic infections, all sorts of things, if the root of all of that is trauma. So it's getting to the root cause of trauma being lodged in the nervous system and kind of discharging it and making the subconscious conscious. So that's probably half my practice, and then the other half is complex chronic illness, all sorts, whether chronic infections, strange genetic abnormalities. Anybody with like, I would say my average patient has anywhere between 10 and 50 diagnoses, like ICD-10 diagnoses. Like it's wild. Yeah, a lot of neurologic diseases, a lot of autoimmune illnesses, huge. Yeah, so just all of that. And I mean, I weave it all together because all of my patients know that it's one of my biggest focuses that the mind and body are not separate, and the nervous system bridges them. And so I never just focus on one or the other. It's like a whole process of unfolding, and I do them together, which is, I would say, different because a lot of therapists who do ketamine therapy, they don't have any medical training. And a lot of the nurses or the doctors doing ketamine therapy have no psych or mind-body training. And so as we go through the whole process, like maybe people need other modalities as well, maybe people need other supportive modalities, maybe somebody's hormones need to be tested, or I'm like, I think you have a chronic infection of some sort, we need to do that. So it's a whole journey, even with the ketamine. It's never just, it's very rare that I can just be, if I'm sensing something or if I'm going to catch something, I'm not going to just overlook it because we're focusing only on the mind. Like, it doesn't work like that.
You're not just a check in and check out type of doctor. You spend hours. Hours. Yeah, hours. I mean, let me just tell you.
It's true.
Not a little time. We spent hours. Like, she'll clear her schedule in the afternoon when we're getting on the phone together. It's true. I mean, we can talk about other things too. Yeah. But, I mean, that's part of the holistic journey of it.
Exactly.
Because you have to.
Yeah,
you have to be able to, like, listen and, like, dissect what you're saying. Because people that are chronically ill, they have been so gaslit. And they've been so traumatized that they don't even know that what they're saying really does have a lot of value because they've been told that they have no value.
Right.
That's really what we've been told.
Or that it's all in their heads.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing, and it's not.
Like, could you imagine, like, just the parasites, just the parasite aspect of me and you.
I know.
Like, could you have them before and you understood, and, like, everyone else was like, oh, the email. No, that's no way that could happen. I mean, I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, it seriously is happening. It's not just, it can't happen. It's happening.
It's actually happening, right?
Yeah, you're like, dude, I just brushed my teeth once in Bali.
One time.
One swipe underneath the seat.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, well, I've been doing it for years now out on my property.
Yep. Yep.
So just that one holistic connection that you were able to sit and dissect from our conversations is really what kind of, I felt like, changed. And I was tossed aside.
Yeah.
I did have medical neglect that made me have severe PTSD.
Totally. Yeah. I would say it's very rare that I have a patient who doesn't have medical PTSD.
Yeah.
Very rare, because they've done all the things you said. The other thing that I'm really big on, especially in the last few years as my practice has progressed, is family systems work too.
Yeah.
Because we're not an island. Like, we're part of our family. We're part of our social network, we're part of our community, and all of those things play a huge role in our health. And definitely the lineage is super important. And with the ketamine work I do, eventually, at some point, if we dig down deep enough, we start going into the family history, into the lineage, into the ancestral trauma realms. And it's unavoidable, it's just, it always happens. Yeah. So keeping that in mind, that I end up treating the whole family system, really, eventually, and sometimes entire families because of it.
That's great. Yeah. It is, because you have to have that chemistry and that connection in order to feel like you belong. I was on the island when we met, like literally on the island.
Yep.
And I had to find the tribe in order to help them rebuild my family.
Exactly.
So I think one really impressive thing about you is that you like Western medicine as well as holistic, Ayurvedic, I pronounced it right?
Yeah, Ayurvedic, yeah.
And just combining them all to make sure that everybody has the full experience of how to heal.
I mean, that was, like I said, that was a passion from the beginning. I love science, I love research. I did my residency at a research institute, so I can speak the language of science. I just know that it has limitations, so I can go the complete opposite end of the spectrum as well. And I think that's where the magic happens in general, is where they, in that Venn diagram where they overlap. But especially to be taken seriously by like medical oncologists and nephrologists and cardiologists and neurologists and rheumatologists, all of these, you know, endocrinologists, all of these specialists.
All of these ologists.
All these specialists, immunologists, I have to be able to speak their language, and I have to be able to pick up the phone and talk to them, and they're like, oh my God, she knows what she's talking about. Like, this isn't just some like hippie doctor who doesn't, like, I'm on it, you know? Like, so it really does change conventional doctors' perspective of what we're capable of, and that was why I wanted to do my residency at a research institute, is because I wanted to be able to speak that language and be that bridge. It's a big deal for me.
Do you feel like we're in a medical awakening?
Oh yeah. Thank God. Thank God. Yeah, or a rebirth, or however you want to say it. 100%.
Wow, you can really feel how everyone here at Neuroveda Health just radiates with genuine care for human well-being, and their passion for root cause healing is such a breath of fresh air. Which is why we were so excited to sit down with Dr. Carly Squires, specializing in complex chronic illness, including interventional pain management, regenerative medicine, and acupuncture.
What is your name?
Carly Squires. I'm a naturopathic doctor here at Neuroveda. So all the doctors here are really pretty and beautiful, have great energy, and like beautiful people. Okay, got it.
They're all like
this. So far, like, wow, like y'all are literally angels.
Yeah,
amazing.
This is what they're all like.
Wow, amazing. Thank you.
How long have you been doing Therapeutic Plasma Exchange?
I have been doing it for 2 years now.
Okay.
So that's when we started a clinic, more of a long clinic, and brought this. They were doing this in Europe for long, and there wasn't really a lot of places in the U.S. that were doing it outside of hospital settings. And so our idea was, well, if this could be a big game changer for this long, to try to get all of these inflammatory cytokines and autoantibodies and just immune complexes that are overrunning the body, causing a lot of that lung symptoms, if we could get that out, this could maybe be a game changer for these people with lung. But again, it's been used for autoimmune conditions for a long time. And then in the anti-aging world, it has started to become popular there just because it's almost like you're getting the immune system to reset. It's great if your followers know about senescent cells, which are zombie cells that kind of overrun our body, inflammaging, all of those terms. This is what would decrease the senescent cells and the inflammaging cells that are causing aging, essentially. So you can kind of switch the clock. Younger biological age has been found in studies, those sorts of things.
What is the percentage of what's being removed and how I'll feel when this is all done?
Yeah, so over the course of 2 to 4 hours, depending on the amount of blood that's being pulled, how much pressure your veins can handle, you'll remove all of your blood volume, but at any one time, it's like a small cup that's in that machine. So it's like you could disconnect from that and be totally fine, that machine right now, not even with putting the blood back in you. But throughout the 2 to 4 hours, your entire blood does get circulated through there, and all that plasma gets taken out and exchanged.
Nice.
So usually, I think it's with that albumin, I think it's usually like 4 of those or something like that, yeah.
And then is it about 70% of the toxins that were in my plasma will be removed?
Well, all your plasma is actually
the
being
dirtiness
taken out,
of it.
and being replaced with that albumin. But there's still going to be other toxins and things in your tissues that are going to be pulled down a gradient back into your plasma. So it's not like it removes everything, but it does remove what's in your plasma right now.
What is the purpose of getting it done so close together? Like, how many and why do you have to do them like that?
Yeah, it's different for different conditions. So a lot of the studies were for these autoimmune conditions. And so since you do have these autoantibodies also in your tissues, they're not only circulating in your blood. We pull out, like we just talked about, all this plasma, but then it pulls down a gradient from your tissues into the plasma, even the albumin that we get put back in there. So if the more frequently you do it together, you can get a larger amount of those pulling out of the tissues at one time. And so 2 times a week for 3 weeks is the standard for a lot of autoimmune conditions. But it depends on other factors in the person. That a lot of times once a week is what people will do as well. For longevity purposes, a lot of people will just do 2 treatments total, spaced out, maybe a couple times a year, something like that.
When do you have like a checkup after that, like a once a year, or what do they recommend for longevity, and then what do we recommend for an autoimmune?
Autoimmune, yeah, a lot of times the spacing of the treatments will depend on the person, the symptoms, what's going on with their autoimmune markers. So sometimes people might come in monthly for a treatment, sometimes every couple of months, so it varies a lot. So it's just constantly checking those levels, but also the symptom management of the patient as well.
What made you want to do this? Like, what made you want to study all of this?
I think it was that, being a naturopathic doctor, really trying to figure out the root cause of things. And so, these long patients that were coming in, it's like, okay, well, what's truly the root cause of that? Well, it is this total immune disruption. And it could be from various things, whether people had a really heavy viral load to begin with, whether they're exposed to mycotoxins, whether they have MCAS or, various things, hypermobility, connective tissue disorders, all those populations were most vulnerable. But really, how do we get to the root cause of all of that? Not just to give symptom relief, but could we really reset the immune system? And that just made sense to me. It just seemed like really root cause medicine to be able to reset that. And I'm excited to see your journey too, to see how you feel and after the course of them.
Well, it feels like this is like one of the last things not the last thing, but like this is a big one for me.
A big key. A
big piece of
absolutely.
Where like I could do so many stellate ganglia blocks, but the inflammation would only go away for a while, not even knowing that that's really what was going on with me until recently. This is going to be, I feel like, a big key.
Right. Well, like we had talked about, that really foundational piece, if we can really reset the immune system from there. And it's not like a cure-all, TP is not, but what the idea is, if we can get your body to homeostasis, other therapies too will be more effective. And I think I gave you this analogy when we were in an appointment, but you could be pushing this big boulder up a hill when you're dealing with all this chronic inflammation and these chronic disease. And so you still have that boulder to push when you're done with TP, but it's almost like TP takes the hill away. So you can move that boulder so much easier, more efficiently.
With less energy.
Yeah, with way less energy. And then other therapies that you're doing might be more effective that way. And so that's really the piece of it. It's definitely not like, okay, you're going to do this and then magically everything's going to go away.
Really, there's
but it
nothing
should.
in life
right.
like that. Because there's still maintenance. So you get to something, but you have to maintain it.
So having realistic expectations is huge too, but this can be that piece.
Can you explain what homeostasis is for people who don't know?
Yeah, so that is just if our immune system is able to, we do have these inflammation is great because that is what can sequester a virus or a bacteria. And so we want that inflammatory immune response, but then we don't want it to keep going on and on and on and create damage and chronic illness. And so homeostasis is more like your body's appropriate balance of the immune system. So it can come, it can fight, it can do its thing, and then you can calm down and rest and do your thing. So it's appropriate balance, I think, is a good way to put it.
Beautiful,
I definitely think it's a good reset. Like it's just a good, you can do all the cleanses, you can do all the things, but if you're pushing the boulder up the hill and it just keeps coming down on you, and I'm proof of that, like it comes back down and I'm just like, oh my gosh, and then you get frustrated as a chronically ill person because you're like, well, what else can I do here?
Do another cleanse.
Yeah, totally.
And it's like,
all right.
But like I love that's one thing I love about NDs. You
Yeah.
only care about the root. And that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Stop looking at the symptoms. Stop looking at the band-aids, right?
Yeah. You're really great, by the way.
Oh, you're incredible.
Oh, so good. So good.
So happy to have you.
Yeah.
I caught what you said, though. Actually, a huge light bulb went off for me when you were talking about, like, why this and how, and connecting it to people with long, and you're like, okay, but so why did it affect you so heavily or drastically? It's like, did you have, like, a heavy viral load to begin with? But what's crazy is when you said that, I realized that doesn't mean you're constantly always sick with the virus.
Right.
Do you have a bunch in you that are dormant?
Yeah.
Is what I heard when you said that.
Well, because that's the thing. A lot of people will be like, oh, well, I was healthy before I got, so this doesn't make any sense to me. And it's like, well, there was something underlying. Anybody with long
You
There's
can
something
have
underlying.
Yeah.
a heavy dormant viral load and environmental toxins.
I was dormant.
And parasites.
Literally.
And this and that. All these
Yeah.
things just hanging out in the plasma.
Yes.
And then that's just, you know, you can think of that bucket overflowing, and so it's
Always
dormant,
talking about
so
the
yeah.
bucket.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're like sitting there and you're like, okay, everything's managing, and then you get something like, oh, and it's just
And
the
it
one thing
overflows.
that overflows.
And then they're like, oh, we're coming out to party. We're all coming together now.
And then you
Our
start
tribe is here in the body.
Right,
Let's
right.
go. And you're like, well, because I got tested for mono, never had it. My lumbar punctures, negative. All those viruses you see on my chart, none of them tested positive. I have proof. I literally have all my records. So I know that I didn't have those. And then all of a sudden, everything came out at once.
Well, and then it's just a snowball, right?
Yeah.
Once that cup overfills, it just like, it's so hard, it's almost like, it just is like a snowball effect.
If a virus is dormant and not active, does it not come up positive on a test?
You will have what's called positive IgG, which is a past infection. So even if you never had symptoms, like most people will have positive mono EBV titers for a past infection, but it's different people will vary in that load that they have. So you should have IgGs, but not an active viral infection.
Yeah.
So interesting.
And so when you're looking at the numbers, that's when you know, oh, well, if my bucket overflows, this could come back and go outrageously
Become
wild.
active,
Yes.
basically. A wake up.
Yep. A stress can make it wake up. Stress levels. Just having that body heightened. And that's really a big one that happened for me was stress. I've always had stressful jobs, stressful situations, and I could never get them under control.
That can be a huge one, the emotional triggers. You know, you could have a death
Yeah.
of a loved one, something like that, or just, an incredible amount of work stress, one thing after the other, that just piles on, like we
Medical,
talked about.
PTSD.
Yep.
It's the combination that really starts to stack on each other, like the cup analogy, and then all of a sudden it's overflowing, and then you get the snowball inflammation.
And you're like, there's so many different toxic loads. It's not just environmental, but even really all of it's environmental. We talk about a lot of how autoimmune is environmental triggering things.
Environmental toxins.
Yeah, the environmental
Pathogens,
toxins.
Parasites, viruses, mold, heavy metals,
Lyme.
bad bacteria,
Yep.
stressors from external, all these things.
So
So
a big one
really,
is trauma too.
Trauma,
Everyone has
trauma.
some, level of trauma too that they're dealing with that is just even in their subconscious. That limbic system retraining, that amygdala. All of those are such an important piece because that's a really underlying.
I heard amygdala.
Okay, this is another sign of
Okay.
information. I need to dive into amygdala. Thank you.
Limbic system retraining, primal
Okay.
trust, like all those ones. Those are really important for the core safe and sound protocol. Like really getting to that core of that subconscious limbic system, neural system retraining is really, I think, the foundation to anything like this. Like doing that work and then, getting things like TP, like it's not one thing, right? You have to do it all.
You are
Smart.
Woo,
She's so
girl,
smart.
You are, that's deep.
Yeah.
Man, deep. Because really what you guys study and practice, I don't even like to call it practice, but what you do, it's holistic with a W.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
the whole thing.
You can't if your nervous system is unregulated from that core subconscious piece, you can only get so far with all the other things. And it's not meaning, okay, all you have to do is
No.
reset that limbic system and then you're going to be good. Again, it's everything because you still have to do this, but all those pieces are incredibly important. And it's usually those ones that are the hardest, of course, for us to do.
Yeah.
This is why healing really is a journey.
Yeah.
Becoming whole is a journey because you can't do all of that at once with one thing that doesn't exist.
No, and even
So
the
it's
limbic
like-
system training, it's kind of like, that's not the first thing you should do even. That can be really deep, but like you really have to get some other things under control or it's just too much for your system to do anyway, So a lot of times you can't do it all at once and figuring out the right time for those things is part of the journey and healing
Keep
as
going.
well.
Yeah, you keep going.
I think the important thing also to note though is how much you do outside of this, which
Yes.
is again the important thing. They're all pieces together, and so everything you're doing outside of this.
It's all symbiotic. It works together.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
isn't.
so you're a great example of that.
I'm not prepared to be hooked up to this. and be like, oh, this is it. I get to go home and this is all I ever have to do.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Doesn't live her life that way.
No,
Right. Which is why, you know, like, I just wanted to point that out. 'Cause that's an important part to it, and you really do walk the talk.
I do. That thing is looking creamy. It's a little white.
It looks gold to me. The worm comes out like gold.
Oh, thank you
Yeah,
so
I'll be
much.
around if somebody-
Okay.
Okay, what a pleasure.
Really appreciate you.
What was your name? Sam.
Sam.
Nice to meet you.
Well, I'm glad that I could potentially be the fastest. BIC.
Pitch in control.
Bitch in control. Not competitive.
Blood out faster.
I'm the fastest. She said I was the best.
Yeah.
I had the most. I was the worst. Now I'm the best. I will say the headache that I've had for days on my right side is subsided. The pressure behind my eyes is better. Oh, we better get a picture.
Oh my God.
Get a picture.
One of my patients told me it was like those guys that have their dating profile where they're
It's like a fish.
holding a fish. Yeah. Like it's like a bag of wine. You ever play like slap the bag? You want to hit it? Do it. Hit it. I want to get a video real quick. Slap the plasma.
Getting rid of that yuck.
Get out of
Ew.
here, dirty plasma.
See you later.
Pounds, isn't it?
Yeah, this is probably, let's see.
God damn, Kim. You feel lighter?
Yeah. Lighter.
You feel like you can be nicer to Jeremy now?
Yes.
Like 3 pounds in here.
Oh my God. 3 pounds.
Crazy.
Wow.
Wouldn't the incinerator?
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
Thanks for joining us here on What's Eating You's field trip.
Proudly brought to you by RogersHood Apothecary.
Me and Sam are so grateful to have you all in our community.
Like and subscribe, share with your loved ones, and see you guys on the next one.